Okay, so being busy, got a few things I've been doing. Had to go and deliver a mate's plane. He sold it, so I had to go deliver that. So let's jump into that and we'll get back to some building in a sec too. Okay, so this will be the last time I fly this. This little plane's been sold now. I'm flying it to its new owner down in just past Rocky. So it's about 180 odd nautical mile trip. I'm going to stop halfway somewhere. And so the owner has a little tear in his eye at the moment. I'm looking over and he's got his tissues out because this thing's going. Alright, so we just arrived at St. Lawrence. So first stop for the morning. It was 2 hours all up. We've refueled. Only used not even half a tank of fuel.
At least it's not going out live.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, second leg, 100 nautical miles the second leg. So it'll be probably 2 hours, 2 hour trip. Ground speed's only, I'm averaging around 55 knot ground speed at the moment, a bit of a headwind. But yeah, all going well. How are you guys? My brain is fried. I've been chasing some dimensions and sizes on the CNC router. The diameters I was getting were just out slightly. So this is what I'm actually working on. This here is hopefully that turns out okay. I'm not in the garage because the CNC machine's running and it's quite noisy, so better to do it here. So this is basically the gearbox that I'm building, which is a 2-to-1 reduction or 2.1-to-1 reduction. It's 85mm belts. It's got bearing supports front and rear with a rubber dampener on here as well for torsional vibration. And you can see it's pretty straightforward. Nothing really spectacular about it. It's just a cog belt drive, 85mm. It's good for 250 horsepower. The gearboxes I've used in the past, I'm actually having trouble getting access to them. They're becoming really expensive, and parts and stuff are getting hard to get. So why not just make one? Making everything else, so I might as well do this too. Just another challenge to add to the list. But that's what it's all about, experimental aircraft building. So why not? I've been fortunate enough to borrow a CNC machine from my mate Daryl. So he built this machine and it's running and cutting all the parts now. So we'll go and have a look in a minute, but yeah, basically that's it. I've just drawn this up on Fusion, and I've got front and rear bearing carriers as well. Oh, actually this bearing carrier is off at the moment, but I'll where is it? I'll find it. Front bearing carrier, there it is. So that's the design. Basically it's a jack screw on the top here. Basically this top section here, there's a jack screw there that jacks down onto the bolt. It's a slotted front bearing, so I can adjust front and rear for tracking, belt tracking. and you can see they're both exactly the same. They're running tapered roller bearings with seals, front and rear. So there's shaft seals, front and rear. A myth with rubber belts too, like the cog belts, is that they take out any torsional vibration. The latest belts these days usually got carbon fiber strands through the belt, and they don't stretch, so they actually don't take out any torsional dampening whatsoever. So I'm putting in a rubber dampener down here, which is just a standard you know, drive shaft dampener. But basically that's it. I'm cutting it all now. We will let's go and have a look. So it's a bit noisy in there, but we'll see how we go, see how the audio comes out, and give you a look at the plane again. That's it there. So yeah, this is the little CNC router that I'm borrowing. A mate of mine's, he built it. Daryl, shout out to you. It's awesome. It's running really well. It's running its own computer designated for it. Running Linux CNC, so it's an old program, and I'm running a new program for the design. So that's where the challenges I'm having are. So I'm actually exporting the drawing, creating G-code to run Linux CNC. What I was finding was the actual tool sizes, I had to change the tool size to calibrate for my hole size, and tool offset wasn't quite right. So I've spent 2 days, I think, almost just doing holes, measuring, because I need to slip these bearings in, and as you know, bearings really tight tolerances, so I want it right. So I export this front plate, create G-code, put it into there. Sounds complex, but it's actually not. This Fusion 360 does a lot of that for you. You just got to tell it basically what you want to do, and then I dump it into this CNC just with a memory stick, like a SD with a USB stick, and basically this is the main controller for the CNC. So you can see that's the part I'm cutting. So there's a bit of mucking around, changing things around, and you can see it's created all the G-code down here. Don't ask me to decipher that, no idea. But the program creates that G-code for you, but it's something like 5,000 or 6,000 lines on this one. But actually there's even more. I'm at 11,000 lines on the code just for this one cut. So yeah, great. So yeah, great little machine. He's built a bigger one, so yeah. Alright, so I hope you can hear me. This machine's going on in the background, so there's a bit of noise around, but this basically is what I'm working on at the moment. So you can see this is the gearbox. This front plate is what I'm cutting at the moment here. So I'm cutting this out. So if I go to the gearbox, that front plate, so this one here, I'll isolate it. Oh no, that's the rear plate, new front plate. So that there is what I'm actually cutting at the moment. And if I go to manufacture, what it actually is going to do. So this is just a bit of a sped up version of the tool path, what I'm cutting. So you can see it's going to do the holes, then the outside edge. I've left a little bit on there, so when I cut down, I've got a bit of stock left on there, so that the clamps can still hold it. So yeah, that's that. And you can see it's cutting away. So you can, this here was from the original one. I'll face all that once I'm ready, and yeah, it'll clean it all up, so it should be good. Here you can see I've cut a hole in a wrong spot, and over here as well. What I'm going to do, this is actually cut out with the shape of the plate. Reason I had that is this hole was off center, was in the wrong spot, actually came across and hit the clamp and busted the cutter, so I had to put a new one in, start it again. I've offset it slightly, so what I'll do is once it's finished cutting, you can see this one here is offset. I'll face it all, and it'll get rid of those little bits that are in the wrong spot. So, a bit more cut to go. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I've been up to. Been quite busy drawing this, and I've also, we'll get back to the seaplane after the float test. I've got to put some more buoyancy down the back there, which you'll see that coming soon. We'll get onto that, but I want to get this gearbox parts all cut and ready to put together. My goal, props ordered, that's coming, should be coming just after Christmas. It's about a 2 or 3 month wait on the prop, so I've ordered that. I'll get the gearbox done, ready, bolted to the motor. I've got all the wiring, computer and everything for the engine. Turbo's on with a turbo bracket. I'll do another video on that. And I'm hoping we should be able to get this back out, float test it again with the extra buoyancy on the back, and engine running with prop on, so we can get some actual speed testing going just after Christmas, fingers crossed. Okay, so apologies for the noise in the garage. It's hard to get the video and the CNC machine going at the same time.